and wordsmith who has an uncanny knack for all things marketing communications, having developed content strategy for some of the world's biggest brands. David started his comms career as a freelance copywriter before working in an agency where he leads content and strategy for vast array of clients across various sectors. His experience and love for writing span nearly 2 decades, culminating in publishing his debut anthology in 2018 titled Awakening 1111. He currently works with Crosson PR London, where he leads the marketing team and helps with media relations and strategy. Ladies and gentlemen, David Olajide, thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Very happy to be here. How are we doing? Lovely, lovely. I like close gatherings like this, so it's perfect for me. I'm sometimes shy. I know you guys don't believe it. Yeah. All right. So just a bit of myself. I think I started my career as just a writer, right? I just love to write. I'm a very curious person. I like to know. I like to learn new things. As a child, my mother would be like, what is not good is not good. There's no other name for it. Because I would always ask, why is this bad? Why is this so? So I was really curious. And so it got me to writing my thoughts. And so I got into poetry, right, from junior secondary school. And I progressed. And when I got into senior secondary school, I started writing proper published poetry works. And then after university, I went to read, you know what happens in Nigeria when they say you're a smart person? I was really like, I knew book, like we would say. So I went to sciences. I really shouldn't have gone sciences, right? Because I love the arts deep in my soul. But because I was like, a high flyer with all the chemistry and the physics, I ended up doing sciences. And from there, I got into uni. I did geography and planning, really serious stuff. And I didn't fail. I was really good at it too. But my first love kept beckoning on me. And after university, I tried to work in a bank. It was horrible. I hated it so much, and everybody thought I was crazy. Like, why would you leave a bank job to chase a career in writing? What are you writing? It didn't make sense at the time. So I stumbled upon Fiverr, Upwork, and Guru.com. If you guys have ever heard of those guys, these guys are like the biggest freelancing firms in the world. And so I was earning a shitload of money at the time, right? 2015. I was in dollars. I'll be in Nigeria just with my pajamas on my laptop. I'll write content for people, Kindle, Amazon. I was making so much money. But my mother was not happy. My mother would say, what would I tell people you are doing? In fact, she said I'm a Yahoo boy. Like, you just stay home and you make money. It didn't make sense at that time. It was just the age of digitalization. And so it was a worry because I love my mom and everything, but she took it seriously. Like, reported me as my pastor. This guy needs to do real work. I don't know. Okay, he's a writer. Where's the book? Because I was, you know what you call ghost writing, right? You write for other people, right? It's not yours. You can't claim the credits. I was like, I write for other people. Like, hey, why don't you write your own book and say you are doing something? So, I spoke to one of my mentors back then, and he said, let me plug you into a gig. I think you're right. You could be a copywriter. Just write stuff for brands and things like that. And so I went for one interview then, Inside Communications, one of the arms called Quadrant. And then I had this conversation, very cocky. I was really cocky. I almost crossed my leg during the interview itself. Like, what are these guys saying? When they told me, it was a really beautiful interview, but when they told me how much it was going to be, I'm like, me. Take this pay cut, earning dollars. Dollars was 161 naira then, I remember, but it was still a lot of money compared to what they were offering. I told them, nah, it doesn't work. I can't do it. I went back, spoke to my mentor. He said, just do it for 6 months. You have money. In fact, you can still be doing your stuff on the side. But then that experience, that decision changed my life, really. It looked like it was a bad decision, but it was, one of the best of my life because it really I got into the first day on the job. They're like, can you write a press release? I said, yes. Are you sure? I said, yes. Okay, write one. In 30 minutes, I went online, searched, copied. I was really good. I'm a dynamic writer. There's nothing I can't write, really. I can morph. I can write. I've written books. I've written technical pieces. Like, so it was just like, okay, this is what it means. This is what it means. We need a quote. My boss then, lovely woman, she said, I know you've not done this before, but you're really good. All I want you to do is be a sponge, soak up stuff here, and you will learn so much. In 6 months, I was doing great stuff, and I loved, being able to take a brand from point A to point B. So my career in marketing, communications, and stuff started. Okay, so that's just a bit of a background. So let's get into the business of the day. Yeah, so we want to talk about finding the heart of your business, right? At the intersection of content and context. I wish this other man was here, the AI man, right? I think the first thing I want to say is this, guys. Don't be scared. AI cannot take your job. It cannot take my own job. For reals, guys, AI can only compliment, can make me do amazing stuff. If I could do 10 before, I can do 100. AI doesn't feel, AI has no emotion. AI still depends on humans to make it work. So please understand that AI is here to help you. In fact, let me tell you why you know. Go and ask AI. Are you here to take my job? It will tell you no. For real. Okay, you believe everything AI does, right? Then try it. It's not here to take your job. But the guys who will lose are the guys who are not ready to really morph and change and transition. Understand that AI is here to complement you, and it's the future, really. So don't be scared of AI. I love AI, so much. I use AI for so many things I do. Google is my best friend, and ChatGPT is going to be my next best friend. No fears at all. All right, so let's go. All right, so let's quickly talk about the two concepts. I'm going to try and run because of time. So, what is content? Everybody's talking about content. Content. We all create content, right? Content is what you're saying. I'm talking content right now. But you see, context is how I'm saying it. Context is where, when, and why you're even saying what you're saying at all. That's what context is. And context is deeper because you are just not what you are. You are beyond that single exclamation of what you are. So content without context is literally useless as far as I'm concerned. And I'll tell you, for instance, if I come here and I say, for instance, uh, Nollywood rakes in 300 billion naira per year. Okay? You're wondering, what does that mean, right? It's just a trivia. That's it. That's content, right? But if I was saying this to a group of budding artists who want to, does that make more sense now? There's context. But to you guys here, does it make sense, really? What's your business? Nollywood. Okay, good to know. Okay, another very interesting fact is if I told you right here that French fries are not French, they're not from France. Does that make sense to you, really? It's just knowledge. Okay? But if you were eating fries, it makes, okay, that makes sense. There's association. Oh, even better if we're in Paris and we're eating French fries. Do you know this is not from here? It's actually from Belgium. There's context, right? So content just by itself. If I just said that to you, I say women are sensitive. You start creating context in your mind. Maybe his girlfriend broke his heart. Maybe he had a chat with you're by yourself creating because why would I say that? Why would I say women are sensitive, for instance? No context. So without context, content is useless and just baseless. And today we're in a world where everybody's vying for your attention. There's attention mining going on so bad. So people are flooding everybody else with so much content and all that. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right, so let's look at the journey of the concept of writing and, we'll get to content. The earliest form of writing were from the caveman, right? They would take hard objects from bones of animals and they would try to inscribe it on the caves and stuff like that. They were creating their own kind of content. And when they killed the animals, they used the blood as, to give shades, things like that. Then the Sumerians, 25,000 years later, started to write on clay tablets. If you're a Christian here, you would know that the Ten Commandments were given to Moses on what? And that's where he wrote them, right? In that kind of thing. And he broke it and he had to go back again. Yeah, long story, but you guys know it. And, in 700 BC, the Greeks invented the alphabets as we know it today. And that really also changed the game. You can see how things were evolving. Chinese invented paper and people could now create books and more. But when the internet came, it changed the game. We could all, if you're someone who follows tech a lot, you understand there's Web 1, which is just, it speaks to you. You can interact with it. Then there's Web 2, which is, social media. You talk, I talk back. And now we're in the age of Web 3, immersive technology, where I don't need to just write content. I can experience content, literally. And that's another amazing sort of space. So the internet changed the game. Next slide. All right, so one of my favorite guys, Gary Vee, he says, content is king, but context is God. One of my favorite quotes. Context is God. It's everything. It's what makes everything happen, right? It's the reason behind everything else. Without purpose, nothing exists. So context is the purpose behind content. Now, if you are creating content I'm going to get into, I know we're trying to get into entrepreneur stock. We'll get that to the slide. I just want to make sure that the sound just changed. Okay. So context is the reason behind, is the rationale behind any kind of content. If you're creating content as a small business owner, I'm sure your reason perhaps is I'm trying to get customers to buy, to do this. But then your context, many people don't take time to think about the context, which is the how, which is the where, which is the when. You just think because I think it's great. We're so emotional sometimes when we're business owners. Oh, I think this idea is so lovely. People should love it. This dress is so fine. People should love it. You're not them, you're yourself. So you have to think beyond it and say, how am I going to create this content in a way that plugs into the context of the audience I'm trying to speak to? Now, respect the gods of the platform. What do I mean by that? Every platform, the algorithm behind the platform is the god of the platform. Instagram, for instance, now favors reels, right? More than any other, just posting just regular pictures or anything. Video content is king. It's the new king right now. You can see the amount, I was just reading data before I got here, the amount of content that is consumed on the internet is more video. People are consuming, if you go on Instagram, in fact, I observe that that's true. If I get on my phone now, I'm scrolling, the first thing I want to see is, if I see pictures, I just want to wait on the video and see what's good. The first few seconds, then I move. If it catches my attention or not. So you need to respect the gods of the platform. That's context. So you understanding that, for instance, I'm a business owner and Instagram means I need to do videos because that's what the algorithm for Instagram dictates that it listens to. So why would you say, well, because you need to do videos, and creating reels doesn't mean you need to do an actual video. It's so easy right now, right? All you need to, you can even slam pictures together and make a reel. So just ensure that that's context. Now that's context on a platform basis, and that makes sense, right? Then respect the habit of your audience on the platform as well, right? People go, for me, I use Twitter for something. I mean, it's like I live on the streets of Twitter. Literally, like I'm that guy. Instagram is okay, catch up. Facebook, oof, almost never, right? So understand what your audience are doing on the platform. The role of, we'll get into that, audience personas, understanding what they're doing and things like that. Next slide, please. All right, so let's look at this. This is one of the favorite quotes that I've come across, and always start with the context in mind before you do anything. So this is what Steve Jobs said. I never rely on market research. Our job is to figure out what customers want before they do. People don't know what they want until you show it to them. This is deep, guys. And I'll tell you, Henry Ford, if you guys know Henry Ford, right? I mean, maybe I should have put it here. In his time, it was horses, right? And he said, if I asked my customers what they wanted, they would say they wanted a faster horse. That's what they would say. I want horses that could run, 10 kilometers per hour and that. But they didn't know they wanted a car, a vehicle that would move you powered by engine. They didn't know. So this is really, this is context. This is deep. This is not just, let's give them. Oh, customers will do market research. You now give them. No. You must understand there's cultural nuances as well. Some people would create things. You wonder why they create some kind of products for Africa. Right? There's what you call the mortuary of how's that word? Like infrastructural mortuary, right? Lots of facilities that they used to use in the Western world. They bring it here. Lack of context. We don't have power to even power these things. We don't have the technical know-how to make it work. But then, because was it a great idea? Is it great content? Can it do something? Yes. But for our weather, contextually, is it good for us? The answer is no. We don't have what it takes. So when the content is wrong, but the context is right, but the context is wrong, you lose. And you find all of them just buried, like some of the softwares, infrastructure that they use in gynecology to save this, to save sperm cells and things like that. We don't have the power to keep it. It needs to be at its regular temperature 24/7. Do we have power 20 hours, guys? I don't know if you do. I don't. I literally make my own power. I have inverter, I have gen, I have. And so these are the issues. So context is very powerful. And so what his man has done, he has hacked something beyond, like, even knows the context that you're not aware of yet. He knows that this product will be deeper than you guys even think it's going to be. Right? So next slide, please. So now let's get to what content marketing is, and let's get to some academics. So it's essentially, we all know what content is, right? So context marketing itself is delivering the right content to the right people at the right time. That's essentially what it is. So it's not enough to just create something that looks nice to you, but then is it to the right audience? Is it at the right time? If you go to your audience insights on Instagram, you would see all those things. They'll tell you what is the age bracket of people you want to send this ad to. They'll ask you these questions. What they're doing is they're asking for context behind the content that you want to post. Even the algorithm is trying to help you say, what is the context of this thing that you want to share? Who are the guys you want to see it? I was consulting for a local brand, and they sell hair as one of the big ones. And I asked them, what is the digital marketer? Let me see your insights on. It's like, who are the guys? It's like 18 to 60. I was like, hair? My mother is about 60, and she will not wear the hair that a 20-year-old will wear. Like, oh, nah, she wouldn't. So you can see that already. And then what you're doing, they're getting impressions, right? But my mother will see it and just like, oof, they record it, impression. Somebody saw it. But contextually, it didn't make sense for that person. No, you've wasted money. You've wasted ad revenue on what? Useless eyeballs, because that ad was useless to her, essentially. It's such a wide one. So you must go back and really think, who are the guys? And then in marketing, we talk about bullseye. You can have 3 levels or more of targets, right? Your bullseye are the guys that if you could sell to just one group of people, who are they? Identify those guys. Those are the first one, and it's in the middle of the circle. Then the next one is, of course, your secondary, and then your tertiary, like that. So who are the prime guys you guys want to sell to? I had to ask them. Oh, they're like, oh, we think it's more young people. Then why are you targeting everybody, right? So these are the issues. So context marketing is really a new field that is coming out now. People need to understand that, yes, again, like Gary Vee would say, content is king, but context is God. It's what powers everything. No, please go back. Right. So the best entrepreneurs, the guys who do like Gary Vee's, Steve Jobs, they leverage context about their audience, and that leads them to making content marketing that makes sense. Without context, you make stupid content. So again, like I said, audience profiles, buyer personas. If you've ever seen a buyer persona before, I'd say, hey, this is so, she likes this, she likes that. That's giving you context with which you want to use to market. Without that context, what kind of content are you really creating? In fact, why is anybody creating any content without any context for starters? Because you just feel like it's nice, right? So there's a deeper level, and it's the future. Context marketing is really deep, guys. Next slide, thanks. So now let's look at just a bit of dichotomy between both of them. So what content is the material you deliver to your customers in terms of what, maybe like a caption, blog post, articles, ads, whatever campaign. Content refers to how, literally. So the timing, what surrounds it. So if content is your what, your context is your how, your where, your when, and your why, essentially. And those are deeper, really, because these guys really determine your what in itself. If you're starting from the what, most of the times you go wrong because you don't have is, right? Let me not be a pastor, but if you don't have God in your life, right? If you don't have context in your life, right? What's left? Right? And so the idea behind context marketing is to use what you know about your contacts. You need to understand, like, oh, this is what motivates them. So we do what you call psychography, right? Not just their physical attributes, but how they think. It's about getting into their minds to see how they think. Then you can give them what they want. So give them what you call a personalized experience. I think about the brands you love or the brands you follow. There's something that makes you just go and say, let me check what's on their page, right? Anyways, I go on Instagram to laugh a lot. And the guy that is funnier than any skit maker to me now, he's not even a skit maker. His name is Portable. The guy's ridiculous. I go there and I'm screaming like, what is this guy doing? It's hilarious, right? Anyways, next slide. So what are the benefits of context marketing, right? It leads to greater conversion. If you can give somebody what they want, when they want it, how they want it, why not? That's right. I just Googled this. Best instant coffee. This is context marketing. They're giving me, sorry, I cropped out the prices and everything. They're giving me, right, options. This is context. So imagine I Googled this and then they're giving me jollof rice. And what nonsense. I'm like, what am I looking for? I need to know who are the best guys. And it's like a carousel. So if I click on this, it keeps going. Right? So that's context marketing, and it makes all the sense in the world to me. And of course, it leads to retention as well. So if you give somebody what they want when they want it, trust me, you're going to come back. The chances that they come back to you is really high. And it builds brand love. There are brands that you love because over the years you've seen that, or over time, you really like what they do. Maybe there's one Instagram vendor that sells hair, or I don't know what it is you guys do on Instagram, but yeah, it just leads to brand love over the years. All right, next slide. We're coming to the end. Yes, so context marketing is the next evolution of content marketing. Thank you for listening, guys.
Question is, how do you go about doing content? You mentioned a whole lot, and it's very important you do your context marketing before you even create your content, apparently. But sometimes I think where the major challenge for me is, it's always very overwhelming when you want to get the context of the audience. So what are the like tips or tricks to like getting the context before you even make the content?
The first thing you always ask yourself, this thing I'm writing, who do I want to consume it? And how do they, like, it's very important. So if I'm writing a piece for, let's say, I'm writing for CEOs, right? If I'm writing for the CEO of a bank, for instance, now, maybe writing a speech, right? The first thing I want to say is, where is audience? How does he speak? So it's me putting myself into that context, right? So it's important to understand the audience. So I'm writing a book about eroticism, which is, I mean, love and is sensual stuff. Who are the audience? Young people that are, feeling all kind of way. And I tell myself, okay, what is your language? What are the kind of things they like to say? If you cannot do that, then you're not ready. And so, being someone who has written different kinds from poetry to books to stories to technical pieces, I've written white papers. I can tell you that one thing that stands me out is the fact that I always think about the audience. From writing a press release, even, I'm asking myself, what is this brand? Who are their target audience? How do they like to be spoken to? So, once I can morph that, I've gotten context very fast in just writing. I mean, that's very personal for me, right? I need to always know. And so before I write, for instance, I spend, like, if you've heard of the Pareto principle, 80% of my time is done researching, thinking, ideating for just maybe sometimes I'm going to write. I can spend one full day thinking and ideating, but when I get down to it, once I get my context right, it flows. In sometimes 30 minutes, I'm done with a full piece. And then those days, those things will probably be like, David, you've not done that. I'm like, calm down. Don't worry. When it comes, it will come. And when it comes, you're like, because I'm spending time trying to get my context right. Otherwise, I'll just write content that it's just blare. Right? So context, you must understand the audience. Who is it for? Why do they want it? How do you want them to feel when they read it? Very important. How do you want them to feel? You want them to feel aggravated? Do you want them to feel happy, excited? If you cannot and you must ask yourself these questions. If you don't, you're not ready. Your content will just come out as every other regular content out there. What stands you out? So I hope I've been able to answer your question. All right. Any others, guys?
What if you work in a very, very fast paced environment where you need to churn out content like back to back? And of course, you need to actually brainstorm. You need to think about get your module right. So how do you balance that?
I've worked in fast-paced organizations, right? If you've worked in agencies, you understand, right? I worked with inside, we were working with 5, 6 clients, and then I was leading content for all of them, right? And that meant it took a toll on me, personal sacrifice. I'll be up all night sometimes, just spending time thinking, studying different materials. One of the things you can't forego is the role of actually consuming other people's materials and just reading and understanding why did they write like this. I ask a lot of questions as a person, so I'm trying to understand. So it takes a toll on you. But the more you do it, now if I've done something repeatedly for brands, when a new brand comes, I'm like, I understand. It's easier for me than 5 years ago, for instance. Now I lead marketing for a public relations firm that is based in London, right? And the kind of content I'm churning out now, I don't think I could have done it 5 years ago. But because I've had time, I've had experience, so build. You can't forego the process. That's one thing. But yes, you must give it that work. I mean, smart work is good. Chat, what GPT, but bro, give it the hard work too. Right? All right. Thank you. Any questions? Looks like we're good then. All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you very much, David.